Hello, this is Gray Hughes of RGB. Today's video is regarding the infamous bloodbath comment. That it almost seems like the political powers that be spread out the message they wanted to have put out there and gave it to all the media outlets. There is not one person with a semblance of a brain or using any sort of critical thinking ability whatsoever at all would believe that Donald Trump was referring to an actual bloodbath. I mean, we've heard the word bloodbath used many times. For example, in a basketball game, if your starting forward was missing and you're playing a really good team, you might say, wow, after the starting forward got injured, it was a bloodbath, meaning you got absolutely creamed in the game. All right, I don't think anybody thinks, oh my God, did you hear that? He said after the power forward was missing, it was going to be a bloodbath. You know, when the power forward got injured, it was a bloodbath. People started grabbing weapons and they started attacking each other on the floor. And the entire floor looked like something out of the movie Carrie. It was absolutely incredible. Nobody thinks that because that isn't a political situation. This is, so of course, wait, he said the word bloodbath? Okay, we can associate that with January 6th. All right, we can associate, okay, yeah, let's make it, it doesn't matter what he was talking about. Let's just make it into something. All right, so let's listen to the first example here. Let's see what they say.
Comments by former President Trump raising the specter of violence if he is not returned to the White House, according to critics.
Wow. So he's saying, Donald Trump must be saying in here that violence is going to happen if he's not reelected to the White House, according to critics. But apparently these guys must believe it too because they're playing it.
He spoke over the weekend at a rally in
God,
Ohio
this
for
is gonna
Bernie
be crazy.
Moreno. That's Trump's handpicked
I cannot imagine what Trump says here. Man, this must be the most frightening thing that any of us have ever heard, because apparently he says that there's going to be violence if he's not elected.
Candidate in the race for one of the state's Senate seats.
He used the stage to issue a warning to China about its car manufacturing policies and offered his prediction of what will happen if his bid for another term isn't successful.
Wait, that just sounds like he's talking about the car manufacturing world. Huh. What does that got to do with bloodbath?
Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now,
yeah,
and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us now. We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Okay, he was saying there's going to be a bloodbath in the auto industry if he doesn't get reelected. When does he say, okay, well, let's keep listening. When does he say there's going to be a bloodbath if he's not elected in terms of like political violence and fighting? He's saying that the car industry in this case, so he must say it again. He must say it again.
Now, a Trump campaign spokesman addressed...
That was it? That was it?
Those comments saying Trump was talking about the impact of a second Biden term on America's auto industry.
Well, of course that's what he was talking about. You just heard him say it. Did you use your ears, for God's sakes?
Trump also took an aggressive tone once again on the issue of immigration. While criticizing President Biden's handling of border issues, he described some migrants as less than human, saying, quote, in some cases, they're not people.
Many have latched on to the bloodbath.
Right. In some cases, they are violent killers, like the Venezuelans who have come over and raped and murdered various people in our country. I wouldn't call those people human, would you? Well, Gray, I would, because people are all people. It doesn't... just shut the hell up. Okay, here we go. Let's move on.
A Trump spokesman says he was referring to the impact on the auto industry. White House correspondent Serena Marshall joins us now for more reaction on these comments. Good morning, Serena.
Why do we need more reactions on the comments? It was obvious what he was talking about. See, this is what I'm talking about. They're trying to turn it into something bigger. And we also know that Biden, in every single public speaking engagement he's had recently, he says that if Trump doesn't get reelected, that Trump said there would be a bloodbath. And while that is a sentence, he was referring to the auto industry. So these people are being intellectually dishonest when they say this. They're lying to the American people. Unfortunately, people just listen to the sound bites and they believe it.
Yeah, good morning, you guys. Those bloodbath comments bringing swift response both from the president's supporters and detractors. One of the Republicans who represents the district where Mr. Trump was speaking saying this isn't about political violence, but economic turmoil.
Well, of course. That's exactly what he was talking about.
I want to congratulate you, Martha, that you correctly identified that the president's statements concerning bloodbath were about
this is absolutely ridiculous.
What would happen in the auto industry.
And now you have this ridiculous attack on Donald Trump coming out. Look, we were all there. We all heard exactly what he said.
Right. See, I totally agree with J.D. Vance right here. He's 100% correct.
And those comments did come.
I mean, there's no way anybody else could see anything differently, right? I mean, let's take a look at this one here then. Let's see what this person says. All right. She must have it right. Somebody else has got to have this correct.
Donald Trump, the presumptive Republican presidential nominee, dialed up the rhetoric during a rally in Ohio this weekend. It's still generating headlines.
This is News
Yesterday's
Nation,
event
you guys.
meant to support Senate candidate Bernie Moreno, but one line in particular from the former president garnered a lot of reaction from people on both sides of the aisle. Take a listen.
If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Wait a minute, they left out the entire first part that was about the auto industry. I mean, what's going on here? They left that entire part out. They'll fix it, right?
For the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country.
Oh my God, that sounds terrible. Imagine if you were somebody out there and that's all you heard right there was that portion. You probably would think, oh my God, this is weird, man. He's talking about bloodbaths. If he doesn't get reelected. That's because you left out the entire part about China and the auto industry.
So what can be gleaned from Trump's latest comments?
Now, thankfully, this guy right here feels the same way I do.
That we are joined by News Nation politics and economics contributor Mick Mulvaney, who once served as White House Chief of Staff under Donald Trump. Mick, it's good to see you this evening. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Natasha. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day to you as well. Let's talk about this. The Biden campaign releasing a statement condemning those comments, saying, quote, he wants another January 6th.
Is this lady here a joke? I mean, is she just goofing around?
The American people are going to give him another electoral defeat this November because they continue to reject his extremism. Mick, what was your first reaction when hearing those remarks?
Yeah, my first reaction was actually go watch the entire tape.
Exactly.
And I'm a little disappointed we only played the clip at the very end. If you put it in context, and I didn't realize this until I went to go do the research, it's a conversation about Chinese automakers trying to use Mexico to get cars into the United States. And Trump said he wasn't going to allow it because it would be bad for American workers. But if he lost the election, it would be a bloodbath, implying be a bloodbath in the American automobile industry.
Yeah, and it was really obvious to everybody. So obviously at this point, the host will say, oh, wow, okay.
So I'm a little disappointed in the press in not showing that thing in context. Look, Donald Trump is capable of saying just about anything. There is no question about that. And I think what folks have come to learn is either you think he speaks literally or figuratively. And that's sort of what I thought this conversation was going to be about before I actually went to go see the whole clip. But if you watch the entire clip, it's clear in context. This is related to a discussion about the Chinese influence in the American automotive industry, which would be a big deal in Ohio, which is where he was today campaigning.
Yeah, so he was... he's telling you the truth right here, this guy. Now, of course, obviously now the host will say something that she'll admit, oh, okay, something like that.
Okay, so in your mind, this comment was limited.
In your mind? What do you mean in your mind? It's not in his mind. It's reality. It's fact that he was talking about the auto industry. It's not in his mind.
Entirely to the auto industry, not comments implying potentially another January 6th.
Yeah, I think if anybody would actually go watch the entire, I don't know, it doesn't take but about 30 seconds to look at the whole clip. You'd look at it and go, well, okay, yeah. Is it good language for a president of the United States? No, look, and I always struggle with the language that Donald Trump used. But I also know that he doesn't speak literally all the time. In this particular sense, I think it was probably not the best language, but certainly not what the Democrats are making it out to be. It's not calling for warfare if he loses the election, which is what a lot of folks on the left seem to be wanting to make it into.
Yeah.
See, that's exactly true. This guy did a very good job of refuting what this host tried to sell. I mean, it's absolute garbage. I mean, it's so disturbing. It makes me angry just looking at this stuff. So this is CNN right here. Wow, okay. This will probably be better. Maybe
Republicans find themselves answering questions about one man and one man only. Donald.
Look at just the psycho look on this lady's face. Like she's got something here, man. Oh, wow.
The Sunday shows were filled with questions about two eye-catching comments Trump made last night.
Yeah, so they're talking about the bloodbath.
The Trump campaign says the bloodbath comment was just about the auto industry.
Well, yeah, because it was just about the auto industry. Did you actually go listen to it, ma'am? I didn't think so.
Your reaction?
I believe it. Look, you have to look at their two
And why does she say, I believe it? It's obvious when you listen to it. God, it's just so unbelievable. But this lady here is the conservative sort of lackey that they brought in, and she's going to try to explain it.
There are several definitions of bloodbath, but one of the definitions of the word bloodbath is a period of disastrous loss or reversal. That phrase is used all the time. We're talking about the economy or the stock market. That's the context I truly believe he was using in this case. He's talking in Detroit, he's talking about the auto industry, and he was making the case, and of course, I'm not surprised Democrats took it out of context. He's making the case of what about China, and if they're going to build huge manufacturing facilities in Mexico.
And look at this lady's face doing a stupid little laugh here, because she knows she is an absolute hack. I've seen this lady a million times over the years, and she absolutely just invents things to sell to the public because she is a political operative who just says whatever is needed to be said. It's disgusting.
I think they're going to sell these cars up in America.
So yeah, she tried to explain it. Now let's move it forward and let's get her. Now here she is. Here she is. Absolute craziness. So here we go. Bless your heart, she says. Watch.
Great news for the auto manufacturing industry, and that's an accurate statement.
Maria.
Oh, bless your heart, Alice.
What a condescending... God, I won't say the word.
Look, of course I don't buy it. And what Alice is saying reflects every single kind of pretzel that Republicans are bending themselves into trying to dismiss it, spin it, or try to embrace it. But the fact of the matter is, Paula, Donald Trump has a history of this dark, violent, dangerous rhetoric.
See that dark, violent, dangerous rhetoric. See, people like this are likely the reason that there was an attempt on Donald Trump's life, because people believe idiots like this who go out and just say whatever the hell comes to their mind. They don't care.
And we already saw the result of what happens when he uses that rhetoric.
Ah, geez, he's going to go January 6th. Forget it. Okay, so she's not willing to be intellectually honest. All right, now let's take a look at this last one here. The pollster. Okay, wow, let's listen to this.
In what world is there any appropriate context to be talking about a bloodbath in the wake of January 6th?
It's a great question.
No, it's not a great question. Bloodbath is a commonly used term in a situation that Trump was referring to. That the auto industry, it would be a bloodbath in the auto industry if China was allowed to use Mexico to import their cars, but he's going to come in and stop that. If he doesn't get elected, it will be a bloodbath, he said, because there won't be somebody in there to protect the auto industry. You get that, right?
It's subject, a great debate, and how really pathetic it is that we're in the middle of this. Right?
It really is pathetic that we're talking about it. And the only reason we're talking about it is because the left-leaning media pretended it was an issue, and they all in unison on all the channels and the politicians repeating it over and over and over, just like Biden is doing by saying, oh, he said it'll be a bloodbath if he doesn't get reelected. They're saying it all again, over and over and over again, so that it becomes a fact to people. But it's obvious, if you have intellectual honesty, that he was talking about the auto industry.
Right now, it's not what you say that matters, it's what people hear. And the fact is, there are millions of voters across the country that heard the word and thought, what exactly does he mean?
No, but that's just because people spun it that way. Nobody listened to it on their own and thought that. If you were watching that speech and you heard it, you just went, oh yeah, wow. Nobody thought that. But when they started tuning into the news who were spinning it that way, they started going, hey, Yeah, maybe he meant bloodbath. Oh my God. Yeah, maybe he meant bloodbath like actual fighting in the streets and everything. Anybody that has a brain that is functioning knows exactly what he was saying. So let's listen to it again.
Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. Now, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, so everybody, you just heard it. That's how it went. It's obvious he's talking about the car industry, the auto industry, and what would happen if he wasn't elected. All right, so the fact that the Democrats pushed that over and over and over again, even leading to currently Biden, who maybe didn't get the memo that it was debunked, still keeps saying that President Trump is saying there'll be a bloodbath if he's not elected. Okay, it's an absolute embarrassment and a joke. And I think you guys should be like, look at the Democratic politicians and the news outlets. They're the people that lied to you the last 4 years, telling you how great Joe Biden's mind and how sharp he was, when the whole time they knew he was in cognitive decline, and that's why he wasn't doing press conferences. That's why he wasn't having cabinet meetings, and he only reads from a teleprompter. And that's why they put him out in June to do his first debate, because they knew he would absolutely be crushed by Donald Trump in that debate, because they wanted to get him out. They should have thought of that a long time ago. All right, everybody, hope you got something from this video. Thank you very much for watching. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.